Welcome back to the Pod Sham Pod. 2-1 Celtics in the 2022 NBA Finals. Draymond is the loudest guy on the court and the quietest guy in the box score. Max, before we jump into a crazy ass segment, how do you feel about this series 3 games in?
Yeah, as Draymond was taking his time storming off the court after fouling out, I was kind of yelling at my TV that he did not play well enough to pick up a tech in that situation tonight. And he didn't pick up a tech. It seems like the refs are basically now just decided they're going to let Draymond do whatever he wants to do for the rest of the series, short of punching someone in the nuts. But it's a weird series because after every game, it feels like one team has kind of figured out some fatal flaw of the other team. But definitely, if you're a Warriors fan, tonight wasn't a must win, but losing it sets you up for a must win in game 4, because I just don't see this Warriors team beating this Celtics team 3 times in a row if they go down 3-1, even with games 5 and 7 at home. It just seems like a really tall order. And honestly, this series reminds me a lot of the series against the Thunder in 2016, where the Warriors just look so outmatched from an athleticism perspective. Maybe it'll turn out the same way that one did, but certainly concerning through 3 games, I'd say.
Yeah. Steph and Clay combined for 11 threes. This entire Celtics team had 13, but the Warriors only got 18 points off the bench, 10 from Poole, 6 from Porter. It just feels like from the first quarter on, a lot of prayers being shot on Golden State's side. A lot of like dribble handoff into an off balance 3 where Clay isn't really in rhythm. His shooting was much better tonight, but he still looked like he forced a few. He easily could have had a super efficient shooting night, but instead took 3 or 4 that were just outside of the rhythm of their offense. And definitely feels 3 games into this one like the Celtics have more firepower. They have some of the youth and electricity that the Grizzlies had that really wore down the Warriors, except that they have so much more shot making on offense. And that combination, especially when you're getting 25 from or 24 from Marcus Smart, and when Marcus Smart is shooting well from the field, and both your stars are making timely shots, it's really hard for this Warriors team to dance with the Celtics when it gets up to 110, 120 points.
Well, you brought up the Grizzlies series. Whatever black magic the Warriors did in that Grizzlies series to win the rebounding battle so definitively against what had been, I think, the best rebounding team in the league, they're going to have to figure some of that out against Boston, because the number of defensive possessions where they scrambled around for like 20 seconds and forced a tough shot, and then Rob Williams just goes and snatches the ball, or Grant tips it out to someone on the perimeter, or Horford snatches an offensive rebound. Like, I checked when the game was kind of getting towards garbage time and they were losing the rebounding battle by, I think, 17. I don't know what the final tally was, but 47-31
Celtics on the boards.
They have to win the possession battle, or at least keep it close. Like, I think just in a matching possessions game, their offenses, I think they can have a better offense than Boston. But if they're giving them turnovers and they're giving them offensive rebounds too, and they're not getting any offensive rebounds themselves, it's just going to be hard to wear down this Boston team. And it sets up a game 4 where they're going to have to play really well. They're going to have to hope that Clay comes out and shoots in kind of a similar way that he did tonight, or a little bit better. They need Poole to play better. Tonight, he went back to game 1 Poole. He was kind of nowhere to be found and making dumb plays. Steph was absolutely masterful in the 3rd quarter, but then kind of started throwing the ball all over the place in the 4th. Draymond was really just kind of didn't seem like he had the requisite level of intensity. The whole team didn't seem like it had the requisite level of intensity tonight. And Boston came out really well, as they have all playoffs long following a loss. They kind of come out and blitz the team early on. And also all playoffs long following a win. They don't play very well. So we'll see if that happens again in game 4.
The Warriors deliver another ridiculous 3rd quarter, and you go into the 4th quarter thinking, well, this is when the Celtics have thrived in the series. And they won the fourth quarter 23-11. Golden State's offense completely dried up. Of course, they pulled the stars at the end. One simple adjustment that I thought, really helped Boston tonight was they just really they've fully decommitted from approaching Draymond on the perimeter whatsoever. Now, obviously, they were sagging off Draymond and tempting him to shoot, but now even when Draymond gets the ball on the perimeter late in the shot clock, they aren't even chasing at him. They're literally just following the guy who's coming for the handoff. They're at an angle, and basically Draymond's body is irrelevant to the play. His screen assists are harder to come by because Celtics defenders are literally just beelining at the guy approaching Draymond and not the screener, Draymond himself. And that's just making it really hard when often Clay and Steph are the only two dribble handoff threats. Gary Payton is just not a high volume shooter, even when he's making threes. And he looked really tentative today on offense. I noticed he passed up a couple wide open looks and kind of just waited for someone to run by him to give it away.
He missed a couple
which is scary. Which is scary because Looney only played 17 minutes tonight. They need shooting wherever they can get it. Wiggins has been really solid for them, but he was 1 for 6 from 3, and the 3-point shot hasn't been so solid for him in this series. He's best attacking the rim.
Yeah, everything just feels harder for Golden State. Even in the game they won, it felt like it was more on the back of like just a blitz of a quarter. But even in game 2 in the first half, it felt like Boston was getting better looks. And they just are more equipped to get to the rim off the dribble and force turnovers. And but I mean, we could be having a whole totally different conversation if in game 4 Warriors come out and defend at the level that they're capable of, like they did in game 2. And I think their defense was really horrible tonight. Good shooting nights from 2 of Steph, Clay, and Poole. They could even the series right back up and be going back to Golden State with home court still intact. So we will see.
I don't know why in these quarters where the Celtics are just so out athleting Golden State, that Kuminga isn't getting just a chance. Just like let him screw up once before you pull him. Why is he only playing garbage minutes in the fourth quarter? Obviously I don't see Golden State practice, but they need some more juice out there. And there's so many moments where, like even when Clay was making shots tonight, he still just can look stuck in mud on defense. Obviously they struggle with playing when they play Poole and Steph together, even though Steph is so savvy for his size. Poole was, only played half the game today because the defense is Swiss cheese when they play both of those guys together. So that would be my biggest fear. Like you said, the Warriors could shoot the lights out in game 4 and tie it up. But I think it's always a bad sign for a team when your best players are struggling to stay on the floor together in a particular matchup.
I mean, throughout game 3, the Celtics were first to the floor. Offensive rebounding is a huge hustle stat. They were getting so many of those. And, it's kind of inexcusable to come out at such an effort deficit in the finals. But at the same time, Boston came out desperate at home after just losing a tough game. So,
And Marcus Smart isn't going to look like Drew Holiday on offense for the rest of the series. I mean, I wouldn't expect it. On the same token, Jason Tatum didn't even have an awesome offensive night. He was 9 for 23, and
he's not going to look like Marcus Smart.
What?
He's not going to look like Marcus Smart for the rest of the series. On
exactly. And Tatum still settles for some pull-up jumpers that I don't think he needs to settle for, because it seems like when the going gets tough and he attacks the rim, there just isn't enough size and force in the Warriors back line, especially when Draymond's in foul trouble, for them to stop him. When Jason Tatum attacks the paint against the Warriors, he looks like the tallest guy on the floor. And it seems like his efficiency was just much higher later in the second half of the game when he was more focused on getting to the rim.
Well, hopefully we've got a series on our hands. We will see on Friday.
2-1 in games, but none of the games has been close so far. Pray for a close game 4.
Yeah, pray for it. Should we get to the good stuff?